Hi, this is the AlphaNet version 3.0.9 training class. We're going to show you how to make messages with text, make messages with graphics, and then schedule those messages to appear on the display. First thing you see when you install AlphaNet is this toolbar. This toolbar represents a couple icons that are used to create messages and sites within our software. First icon is the message editor. We're going to go into that icon now. When the message editor opens, you have the window here that you use to make your messages. We'll get started with a simple text message. Choose a mode. I'm going to choose rotate and standard. That gives me an option to either fill, top justify, left justify, bottom justify, right justify, or middle justify the actual text I'm going to use. One of the easiest things to do in this case is just to go fill. That centers the text and makes it run even on the display. Simply type what you want the sign to say. You can simulate that by clicking on this little film strip. Little film strip opens up what we call the emulator. The emulator will show you what is to show on the display before you actually send it out. The emulator sizing can be changed at any time by right-clicking your mouse in the black portion of the simulator or the emulator and choosing Change Display. Use the drill down window to choose your sign model and then enter your sign size. I'm using a Street Smart 17X 128 by 48. Close the emulator. Now we can make changes to the message. For instance, let's modify the size. I'm going to take that character up to a 10-row character. Now the 10-row character uses 10 LEDs maximum height. That's how we define it as 10-row. Back to characters. Choose a double high. Now it's at 20 pixels tall. Back to characters, double wide. Increases the text size even further. You don't like something that you see? Choose backspace. That'll get rid of it. Simulate again, and we're back to our standard font. Now, if I get rid of fill, rotate, back to modes, hold, and fill, that just centers the message and holds it solid. It does nothing to it, but just holds it right on the screen. Now, after test message, if I go to Options, New Line, I can add another line to the message. It's like hitting Enter on your keyboard in a word processing program. You're just starting a new line. Options, New Line. You can keep adding lines until you fill up the sign. Now, if I were to get rid of all of the new lines, go Options, New Page. And simulate that, what that's going to do is page flip the two messages back and forth. Now that's like hitting a period at the end of a sentence. It completes a thought. You can, for instance, get rid of the hold, go back to a rotate. I like to keep my messages neat and just get rid of any extra and unneeded spacing. You'll see that the first message completely scrolls off the display and the second message begins. Options, New Page. Now go to Modes, Hold. So test message will rotate. Test message 2 will rotate. However, because I put a fill hold, test message 3 and 4 will come up and hold. Now you'll notice there's some timing issues going on here. Obviously test message and test message 2 will take longer to scroll off the screen than the hold actually holds up the text. So after the fill hold, we can come to Options, Speed, and go down to Custom. If I go to Options, Speed, Custom, I can enter into custom speed as to how long I want the messages to hold. Say I want the message to hold for 3 seconds. It holds up a little bit longer that time. So you can do combinations of different modes, different character sizes within the same message. Just make sure that you choose your mode first, then your character size, then you write your text, then you choose your option for your new page or your new line. If you want to slow down that page flipping, come right after the fill hold, choose Options, Speed, Custom, and enter in your custom hold time. Now this is in seconds. This is very useful for folks with certain municipalities that only allow you to bring up a message and hold it for a specific amount of time before it can change to another. If you don't choose an actual mode before you start typing, software will make it up as it goes along. It'll just add modes in there. Some people like to do this because it animates the text in all sorts of various and random ways, and that's great. If that's the way you choose to do it, perfect. Just choose a character size if you'd like. We'll do a new page. And it'll just flip back and forth between the two messages. You can use the combination of modes, characters, and options to make your text messaging. Now through options, there's a few more things that we can do. I'm going to add a hold. Options time. Put the time up on the sign. The time on the sign is derived from the time on your computer. So if your time on the computer is correct, the time on the sign will be correct. Once a message is sent to the sign's controller board will take over as it has its own internal time clock. No need to have the computer connected to the sign in order for the time on the sign to be accurate. The sign takes over from there. We can add the date, choose a date format, and then you get a little preview down here. And there's date. And there's temperature. Now fear not, it's actually not 212 degrees Fahrenheit outside. That is what the simulator shows. Out on the sign, the information is derived from the temperature probe that's connected to your sign's controller board. So out at the sign it'll be correct. On the emulator, not so much. Now, we're going to move on to graphic content. Street Smart signs are capable of graphic content. A-series displays are capable of graphic content. If we choose options, GIF or JPEG, AlphaNet will recognize a GIF, a JPEG, or a JPEG file. Now, if you use Windows Explorer, go into the AlphaNet folder. You have an Alphamations folder in there. Go ahead and double-click on that. Within the Alphamations folder, there are multiple subcategories. Each subcategory has an RGB animation and a mono shade animation folder. The mono shade animation folder is for monocolor displays that are capable of shading. Those are your Street Smart signs. The RGB animations are for full color displays, like the Street Smart 35V or the Adaptive A series. To go into Holiday Monoshade, double-click on that. It's going to give you a few more folders. And these folders represent sign sizes. So find the sign size that you're using, and then you can go ahead and choose a graphic. All you'll see is GIF within the message editor. Click on the film strip to simulate that. Now what you'll notice going on here is the fact that the sign is taking over and putting in random modes again. This is a gotcha when creating graphics in messages. You always have to come before the graphic, go mode, hold, and fill. Now our graphic is doing what it's supposed to be doing. You want to save the message, go to File, Save As. Find the place where you choose to save your messages. I choose to save my messages within AlphaNet and the My Messages folder. If you don't like the graphic, just get rid of the graphic itself. Options, GIF JPEG, AlphaNet, Alphamations. Now some graphics do not animate. We call those static graphics. Just fine to use. But if you want them to hold for a certain amount of time, remember, go to Options, Speed, Custom, and enter in the number of seconds you want that static graphic to be up on the display. That custom speed does not work on animated graphics. It only works on static graphics. You can use different combinations of graphics and text to make messages as well. Once you've created actual messages, we need to send them to the sign. So, one of the easiest ways to send a message to the sign is just straight through the message editor. Find a message that you want to send. Choose the lightning bolt. Lightning bolt will ask you if you want to send to selected sites or send to all sites. If you only have one sign and one site set up, one double-sided unit, that is just fine. Choose all sites and hit OK. Your message will be transmitted out to the sign. Now that one message will go out to the sign and it'll play in a loop over and over and over again, 24/7, 365, or until you change it. The sign will just take over. No need to have the messaging computer on or connected. The sign uses its own memory to display the message. But sometimes we want to actually send more than just one message to the sign. If you want to do that, that's when we exit out of the actual message editor. We go into what we call the Site Manager. Now the Site Manager has multiple parts. It has a site/groups part where you have a yellow folder here and a name next to the yellow folder. That's just the name of your sign site. If you double click on that, that opens up your site editor. Now this is one of the key components that your dealer would set up for you at the time your sign is installed. We want to bring messages into the Site Manager to send them out to the sign. So we highlight our site and we choose Add Message. Now when you navigate to where you have your messages saved, just choose one of the messages. Once you have a message chosen, hit the lightning bolt. That'll transmit it out to the display. But we're still only sending one message. So let's add another. We'll add a third. Now if I hit transmit, all three of these messages will go out to the display and they will display consecutively. Birthday, graphic, time, date, 10. If I would like to edit one of these messages before sending it out, all I have to do is highlight it and click on the pencil. That'll automatically open it up inside of Message Editor and I can just go ahead and simulate it. Make a change, simulate, save that change, come back to the Site Manager, transmit, and the change will go out to the sign. Whenever you make a change in a message, you always have to make sure that you transmit it to the sign, otherwise the sign doesn't know. All three of these messages, they'll go out to the sign. They will play always, which means they'll play 24/7, 365. Sometimes we don't want that. But this specific birthday message, let's say the individual whom we've made the message for has their birthday on Friday. So I would highlight the message, come up here to the schedule message icon. Now that opens my message scheduling window. I would choose Friday, a time to start the message, and a day to stop the message, and a time to stop the message. Hit OK. You'll notice that my start date time and my stop date time have changed. So we can do it by day of the week. We can also do it by date. Just all the way down here, we can choose a date. And a time. Now we have a start, day, and time based on an actual date. We can also choose only weekdays, which will play it Monday through Friday, obviously. We can choose only weekends, Saturday and Sunday. So you use a combination of the start day and time and the stop day and time to display your messages on the sign for certain times of day. Now, if I were to send this out to the sign, only these two messages would be playing right now. This birthday message would not come up on the sign until 8 o'clock a.m. on June 20th. Now, this message will be in the sign's memory, but the sign will not play it. So there's no reason, again, to have the computer on for the schedule to work. The schedule relies on the sign's internal clock and acts accordingly. You can schedule all three of these messages to turn on and turn off whenever you wish. Be advised, if you have a time in your message schedule where no messages are scheduled to appear, your sign will be blank. It'll be blank except for a small blinking cursor in the upper left-hand corner of each side of the display. That's so that you know that it's still powered and the controller board's running. Some municipalities require signs to go dark during certain times of the evening. perfect application for scheduling of messages. You can schedule all of your messages to turn off at a certain time of day and then turn on at a certain time the next day. If there's a message in your schedule that you don't necessarily want or need in there any longer, just click on it and hit the green trash can. It'll say warning, removing messages. Just say OK. The message will be removed from the schedule. It will not be removed from the sign until you transmit. And it does not delete it from your computer. There it is, brought right back in. So, one more time, choose your site, click on the little plus sign, add a message, schedule the message. If you have any questions on the material that's been presented, you can give Adaptive Technical Services a call at 414-410-0757 anytime, Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Central. Thanks for watching.